February was a wild ride in the Yorba housing market. Since November, we seem to finally be settling in and having a housing market that was more stable. However, February completely reversed course and flipped everything on its head. So what happened in February and how is that going to impact the Yorba housing market as we head through March? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So if you're a returning subscriber, thanks again for watching this. I really appreciate it. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm Josh Alexander, your local Yorba real estate agent, as well as host of Discover Yorba, your one-stop shop for all things Yorba. So in today's episode, I'm going to be going over what to expect in the Yorba housing market for the month of March and my suggestions for both buyers and sellers. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to try to make today's episode quicker because I'm just getting over a cold that I got from my kids, so I'm hoping my voice doesn't go out before this video is done. So on the inventory side in Yorba through the month of February, we were hovering pretty steadily around 60 homes on the market, which is actually a lot lower than it should be this time of year. Usually pre-COVID, we had a lot more homes on the market, giving buyers a lot more to choose from. Now on the demand side of things, there's really two ways you want to look at demand. You want to look at past demand and you want to look at future demand. So past demand, that's going to be measured in something called pending sales, or how many homes are being put into escrow. And when you look at that number, the amount of pending sales in Yorba went up in the month of February, which showed that demand in the month of February was a lot higher than it was in January. However, when you look at future sales, which the best way to measure that is going to be purchase applications, so how many new buyers are going in, talking to a lender, getting that pre-approval to go look for a home, that was down 3 out of the last 4 weeks in February, which just means that over the next 30 to 90 days, you can expect demand to start shrinking again. And why is that? It has everything to do with inflation and interest rates. So at the beginning of this month, we started with about 6% rates, and at the end of the month, we almost got back up to 7. So a full percent point jump in just a month, which is why we had such chaos in the housing market in general in the month of February, because buyers who could afford to purchase a home at the beginning of the month could no longer afford to do so by the end. So it's created a lot of uncertainty in the housing market, so a lot of buyers are being forced to sit on the sidelines right now. And again, that's echoed by the fact that we saw purchase applications decrease week after week over the last 3 weeks of February, so that demand number is going down, which is completely expected as interest rates go up. What's not expected, however, is that usually when demand starts going down, you start to see inventory climb because there's less buyers on the market. That hasn't happened. The inventory in Yorba has stayed relatively flat all month long, and one of the main reasons we're seeing this is something called a mortgage rate lockdown, which is something that doesn't happen very often, and it really only happens when we have a period of extremely low interest rates followed by a period of extremely high interest rates, because the affordability difference is so significant that a lot of sellers that want to move into a new home just doesn't make sense for them to do so, because just to move into a home at the same price as their current home would almost double their mortgage payments. So a lot of sellers that don't need to move are just having to stay put. They're locked in that low 3%, 2% interest rate, and they're just having to sit there because it just doesn't make sense for them to move. So the odd thing that's really happening that we don't see often is that as interest rates go up, inventory is actually shrinking right now, which actually is helping the market stabilize. So as interest rates go up, demand goes down, but inventory is going down as well. And as interest rates drop, we see demand start going back up again and inventory climb as well. So because these things are interlocked and you're not seeing a significant difference between supply and demand right now, we really haven't seen much movement in the housing market in terms of appreciation or depreciation over the last 4 weeks. And I expect that to continue over the month of March as well. So yes, home values are slightly falling week after week in most areas in Yorba as well as Orange County and Southern California in general. However, we're not seeing significant price decreases, but they are going down week after week, and that's something that I continue to expect to happen through March unless we all of a sudden get some great news on inflation where rates start dropping significantly again. So if you're a home buyer or a home seller, what does this all mean for you? So let's go ahead and look at buyers first. Okay, so buyers. So there's basically three things that I want you to know as we go into March if you're thinking about buying homes. So number one, if you're a typical buyer, like 90% of buyers out there who is purchasing the for the long term, you're going to be living in it with you and your family, and you're not trying to do flips or you're not trying to make a quick profit, then really the biggest thing that you should be looking at is that monthly mortgage payment. Can you afford the monthly mortgage payment without financially stressing yourself in the area you want to be? Maybe you're not getting all the amenities you want or every feature you want in the house, but can you get into a home in the neighborhood you want to be in the school system you want to be in, for the monthly mortgage payment? If so, then you should continue looking for a home. Now, if you don't know that information, you don't know exactly how much you can afford, this is the time that you need to talk to a lender. It's completely free. Give them your financial information. It only takes 24, maybe 48 hours to do so, and they'll be able to tell you what you can afford, what you can't afford, and that's going to make it a lot easier to plan to figure out if you can actually purchase a home in the area you want to purchase in, or if you need to wait a little bit longer and either reduce your debts, increase your income, or find a co-borrower or some other way to be able to help you get into a home right now. So the second thing you need to know as a buyer right now is that interest rates are back to being volatile again. They've gone all over the place over the last couple weeks, which means that if you're placing offers right now, you need to make sure that you contact your lender right before you place the offer. I'm talking about at least within 24 hours of placing the offer. With rates going all over the place right now, some buyers are running into issues where one day they can afford the home, 2 days later they can no longer afford it. So you need to make sure you're in constant communication with your lender to make sure that you can actually afford to purchase the home that you're placing offers in on. And then third thing for buyers is that you need to be able to have patience for two main reasons right now. So number one, inventory, like I said, is extremely low. That means if you're a little bit nitpicky on the home that you want, or you're just trying to find a home in a very specific area, it might take you weeks or even more than a month to find that right home to even start placing offers on. So if you're thinking about moving in the summertime, you probably want to start looking relatively soon, because it could take you a month or two to find the right place, because inventory is just so low that there's just not a lot of options available right now. And then the second reason you need to have patience is that yes, interest rates are going all over the place, and like I said before, you could have a situation where 1 week you can afford the type of home that you want to be in, and maybe a week later you can't. So you have to be able to be okay sitting on the sideline for a week or two or maybe 3 as interest rates are fluctuating before you're able to purchase a home again. So if you're not comfortable with that, then you have to understand this might not be the market for you until we see some kind of stability in interest rates. Okay, so if you're a buyer watching this and you're kind of getting scared about trying to enter the housing market right now, there are some silver linings that you do want to make sure that you remember. So number one, even in crazy years, typically in March, you're always going to see inventory end the month higher than when it started. So if you're trying to find a home, you can't find the right house for you right now, over the next couple weeks, we should start seeing more and more inventory hit the market in Orange County. Number two, yes, inflation numbers were worse this month than what a lot of people expected. However, over the long run, over the next couple months, almost all experts are predicting right now that inflation will continue to go down. So that means that interest rates will typically follow. So over the long run, you should start seeing interest rates go down, not only through the month of March, but hopefully through the rest of the year as we get to summer as well, which means housing payments will become more and more affordable. And then number three, we are continuing to see prices drop in the Orange County housing market, not in all places, but in a lot of places, which means that as every week goes by, homes are becoming more affordable. Over the long run, interest rates should be going down, and you should have more inventory to select from as we head through March, going into the summertime as well. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about buying a house. There's no reason not to get that pre-approval to figure out exactly what you can afford, and if you can't afford a home right now, what you need to do to be able to get there, so that way you are ready when the time comes to be able to look for your first home, and you can make sure that you're getting the best rate as well as the best deal on the home as possible. Okay, so now for the selling side of things. So let's say you're a typical seller that's looking to sell their property and move to another one, but you just think the mortgage payments are going to be way too high. Well, the best advice I have for you is you need to make sure that you have all the financial data in front of you to be able to make that decision. So if you had a home that you purchased maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, obviously you've had a lot of appreciation happen in the market since then. So you need to be able to figure out how much your home is currently worth, figure out how much you're going to net from the sale, and then talk to a lender about putting that as a down payment and what your payments would be with this new higher interest rate. Until you have all of that data in front of you, it's going to be extremely hard to make an educated decision on what's going to be best and if you can afford to step up to that new home without significantly increasing your mortgage. So first, talk to your trusted real estate agent, have them run a comparable analysis report on your home to figure out, one, how much it's worth, and two, how much you net from the sale based on all the fees as well as how much you have left on your mortgage. And then you can take that information to the lender, have them run the numbers for you, and now you have everything in front of you. Now, if you're on the other side of selling where you don't need to buy another home, you just need to sell your current home, you just need to get it on the market as soon as you can. Like I said previously, home values are slowly going down week after week, so there's no reason for you to wait to get it on the market at this point, because the longer you wait, the more your value is going to fall. So you need to make sure you get it on the market, market it properly to be able to get the max amount of dollars on that home as possible. Now, how do you get the max profit from your home? That's probably the most common question I do get from sellers. So if you want some free resources on what you can be doing to get your house ready and to make sure it's marketed properly, to make sure you are getting the maximum dollar amount for your home, feel free to comment below, DM, depending on where you're watching this. Give me a contact and I'll be able to get that information over to you and make sure you have an understanding of what you need to do to make sure you're maximizing your profit. So the last thing I want to go over for sellers is if you're a typical seller that maybe locked in that low interest rate and wants to move, but they can't right now because it just doesn't make sense with those higher interest rates and the higher mortgage payments, have you considered taking your current home and renting it out? Right now, because rates are so low, oftentimes your mortgage rate is very low as well, which means that if you rent your property, because rental prices have gone up significantly over the last couple years as well, you might be able to profit a few $100s a month by keeping that home as a rental, and you can take that and apply it to your new mortgage to help offset some of those costs. And then on top of that, you also could look into some of the loan products out there. For instance, the 2-1 buy down could help you get a temporary lower interest rate to be able to make that jump into a new home a little bit more manageable and not such of a big difference. Now, yes, this is not a product for everybody. You need to talk to your lender, make sure you understand the financing involved, but this is something that more and more sellers are doing because number one, you now have a rental property. It's appreciating over the long term. You're getting a monthly income check every single month. It's a great way to build your wealth. But number two, by doing that, it gives you some more flexibility to have a higher mortgage payment without having to have that big of a difference compared to what you're paying right now. So if you haven't explored that option yet and it's something you might be interested in, talk to your real estate agent, have them run the numbers for you on how much your home could rent for, talk to a lender about that 2-1 buy down program. Again, just have all the information in front of you so you can make a good financial decision for you and your family if it makes sense at that point to be able to upgrade to a new home because the payments wouldn't be that significantly different. So if you're a buyer that's just not sure what you can afford right now, what type of programs are out there for down payment assistance to help you lower your interest rate, or you just have some questions about the home buying process, or if you're a seller that wants to know what your property is worth, wants to know how much you would make from the sale, and maybe some different options out there for the lending side of things for you, feel free to ask those questions to me anytime. You can book a discovery call with me by clicking on the comment section below, the link in my bio, or just DMing me depending on what platform you're watching this on, and we can go over your personal finances to figure out what might be the best option for you, and if it actually makes sense for you either to buy or sell a home right now, or if you wait a little bit longer. So again, make sure you click that link if you want to have just a friendly conversation to figure out what might be a good move for you in the future. So I hope you found this information useful today. If you did, can you please hit that like, share, and subscribe button below? I would really appreciate it. And also, just to let you know, if you are living in Yorba or thinking of moving here and you want more information about this great city, make sure you subscribe to this channel because not only do I go over what's happening in the housing market, I'll interview local restaurants, what's happening event-wise, go over different new businesses opening up, and basically give you everything you need to know about this great city all in one place. So hit that subscribe button if you either live in Yorba or are thinking of moving here to make sure you stay up to date on everything happening inside Yorba. So until next week, stay happy, stay healthy, and I will see you on the next show. Bye.